Well, thank you for staying with us. Shortly, we'll be joined by energy analyst Kojo Poku. He is our guest for the morning. But helping us bring you this news review is Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. In case you haven't heard about them, let me tell you a bit about them. They're offering free prostate screening for you if you're a man. Free prostate screening for you if you're a woman. In fact, not prostate, free female fertility screening if you're a woman. Women don't have a prostate, by the way. And they're offering all of this to you totally gratis. Now, here's where you can locate them across the length and breadth of Ghana. You can find them here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronum Abwehia behind the Angel Educational Complex. Then there's Takrade Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22, Techima Hanswa, and Esiama and Zema. I'm sure you'd like to pick up your phone and give them a call. And these are the numbers you'd want to give them a buzz on. 0244 867 068. 0244 867 068. Alternatively, you could reach them on 0274 234 321. 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But it's a pleasure because this is just the start of the news review, and we'll be getting into some very pertinent matters. I've heard a lot of you talk about that Al Jazeera tape and the gold situation and names that are mentioned here and there. In fact, when I just stepped outside to take something from my car and come into the studio, I heard people talking about it. Some saying that we hear the name of the president mentioned one time too many and all of these scandalous dealings. But I've also followed the Twitter post of Kojo, counsel to Mr. President, who says that there's never been any such engagement with this Matthias or whatever person who is captured in that gold scandal by Al Jazeera network. I would wish, though, that the names of those in the top echelons of our leadership in this country wouldn't be mentioned in that breath, whether previously or now. And there are so many incidents we can look at previously and currently. And I'm not just talking about this administration. But this morning, as I contemplated everything happening in our country, where we find ourselves at the very brink, on the precipice of debt, chaos, if you like, our inflationary situation, our currency exchange situation, the cost of living, the reality of doing business today. When I just contemplate everything, I keep getting worried because as I interact more and more with some of my colleagues, with people who are my contemporaries, I keep wondering about Ghana's future, especially with our crop of misleaders. Where are we heading? Remember that song, We Are Going, heaven knows where we are going. We know we will. We know we will eventually, but like the Israelites in the desert, though, is it a journey of 40 days that we're going to spend 40 years to complete? This morning, there's so much, my inner ruminations have got me talking like this, but sometimes I just sit back, reflect on Ghana, and it makes me sad, really sad. But I will not get depressed. Decadence, despondency should have no place with us. But this morning, I just wanted to ask you watching me this morning, what makes you proud as a Ghanaian? Think about it. What makes you proud as a Ghanaian? Share with me, feel free. I'm not saying there's nothing, I'm just asking you for your responses. What makes you proud as a Ghanaian? What makes you stand out, do you think? How optimistic are you for the future? Share with me via our live feed. And again, I'll throw the challenge to you. For those who have never, you may watch us on TV all the time. Just go on JoyNews on Facebook. Yeah? JoyNews. Just key in JoyNews on Facebook. Get to the live feed and send me your responses to those questions. You might as well, since you're going there, follow Joy News on Facebook as well. And we'd be very grateful. In fact, we're grateful now, even before you do that. Thank you very much. Do we have Kojo Poku yet joining the conversation? Mr. Poku, are you there somewhere? Okay, Kojo Poku is not yet there with us, but we'll get into the papers this morning and find out what they have to say. So I'll be looking predominantly at the Ghanaian Times, the Daily Guide, the Finder, and Economy Times. Interesting, this morning I don't have the Daily Graphic, which usually would come with a bag of stories I would want to do, but we'll settle for what we have. So the Ghanaian Times newspaper, ECG disconnects TTU and two others over 3.3 million Ghana cedi debt. And the ECG is still not running amok, but is still rampant, claiming what is its own. EC to conduct Kumau by-election on May the 23rd, and we've already seen the charge from the different political parties within the MPP, within the NDC, and then a private candidate as well, an independent candidate, I should put it that way, who is lacing his boots and who has made some claims about the MPP, for which reason he's going to run as an independent one more time. Now, securing $3 billion IMF support, President signs 3 tax bills to pave the way for government to bag 4 billion Ghana cedi revenue annually. And you know what I'm talking about. The 3 taxes that some were hoping the president would not give assent to make or fashion into law. Well, we all knew that wouldn't happen. Most of us did. Police probe burning to death of 3 suspected armed robbers at Asankragua. On the back page, we have 2023 Domestic Outbound Tourism Survey launched at Winneba and the Ghana Statistical Service in the mix there. Let's get into some of these stories now. And let's talk about the economy. Let's start from there. Let's go to page 11. So President Nana Akufo-Addo has signed into law the 3 new tax bills recently passed by Parliament. The new tax bills include the Excise Duty Amendment Bill 2022, the Growth and Sustainability Levy Bill 2022, and the Income Tax Amendment Bill 2022. According to the Minister of Information, Kojo, the document has since been given to the Clerk of Parliament to commence the necessary administrative processes. Now, speaking in an interview in Accra yesterday, he noted that the necessary transmittals were underway before the Ghana Revenue Authority could commence implementation. The majority in Parliament said the measure formed part of moves to raise 4 billion Ghana cedis in revenue annually. Now, the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, said the bills were essential to its quest to secure an IMF bailout. He further explained the taxes were targeted at bolstering the sustainable generation of domestic revenue for the country. The 3 new tax bills, which were passed under certificates of urgency, are projected to complement the government's efforts to raise more than 4 billion Ghana cedis annually. But again, the watchers of this space have wondered whether indeed we shall get what we seek in terms of the revenue projections in these very dire economic times. Only time will tell. But let's do some politics now. In the by-election to elect a new member of parliament, that story also on page 11. The by-election to elect a new member of parliament for Kumau constituency in the Ashanti region is slated for May the 23rd, the Electoral Commission has announced. It followed the death of the former MP of the area, Philip Baswa, at the age of 53 at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital on March the 27th. Now, according to the Electoral Commission in a statement signed and issued by its chairperson, Jean Mensah, in Accra yesterday, the exercise would be conducted in line with Article 1125 of the Constitution. And it quotes, saying, in quote, the Electoral Commission wishes to announce for the information of the general public that following the death of the Member of Parliament for the Kumau constituency, Philip Baswa, the seat of the constituency in Parliament has become vacant. In accordance with Article 1125 of the Constitution, as amended, the Electoral Commission will hold a by-election in the constituency on Tuesday, the 23rd of May, 2023, the statement said. In this regard, it said the commission would receive nominations from prospective candidates from May the 2nd to May the 5th at the Setre Kubau district of the Electoral Commission. Two interesting stories there on page 11 of that newspaper. Let's come to page 3 before we turn to the back page of the newspaper. And there is this story: police probe burning to death of 3 suspected armed robbers. And the police at Asankragua have commenced investigations into the burning to death of 3 suspected armed robbers on Sunday at Mosiaso in the Wassa Menfi West municipality of the Western region. The victims, identified as Ike, 24, Abbas, 25, and Abeku, 26. Interesting, 24, 25, and 26 were allegedly killed following a robbery that occurred in that community. Information gathered by the Ghana News Agency revealed that on Sunday, 5 armed men supposedly attacked a gold buying shop and in the process shot and killed Frank Arthur, the attendant at the facility. The incident angered residents at Mosiaso, who conducted investigations leading to the identification, arrest, lynching, and setting ablaze of the 3 robbers, while 2 others escaped. The charred bodies of the suspects and that of Mr. Arthur, the victim, have been deposited at the Father Thomas Allen Rooney Memorial Hospital mortuary at Asankragua for preservation and autopsy. A rather sad development there. Scrap dealer jailed 20 months for stealing laptops. That is the other story I'll be looking at. And the scrap dealer, Bawa Anko, has been sentenced to 20 months imprisonment by the Accra Circuit Court for stealing 5 laptops worth 36,000 Ghana cedis. Anko, who broke into offices of Sinlab Ghana Limited and made away with the computers, was sentenced to 15 months on the charge of unlawful entry and 20 months on the charge of stealing. So sentences will, however, run concurrently. So he's doing 20 months in jail for that. An accomplice, Godwin Nyame, a 47-year-old trader who dishonestly received the 5 laptop computers, has been granted 70,000 Ghana cedi bail with 2 sureties. So I'd like to say this. Usually, people forget. If you take custody of stolen goods, you better have a good alibi, because if it is traced to you, you'll also face the consequences. You'll have to dance to the music. So note that. Someone comes to you with very cheap products and you think, oh, it's a good deal. Did you bother to find out where this person got the items from? If you are found to be complicit, it could be problematic. But we have Kojo Poku joining the conversation. Kojo, a very good morning to you. I was asking, as I started this segment this morning, I was trying to find out, Kojo, what does it mean for you, before we get into the stories, what does it mean for you to be Ghanaian? What makes you proud as a Ghanaian? What would you celebrate today as a Ghanaian? I've just been thinking about so many things, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I'd like to find out from you, what makes you positive as a Ghanaian?
You know what? That's a very deep question, Ben. I mean, I don't think many of us have really sat and thought of what makes us Ghanaian. But I think it's the warmth of the country. Look, Ghana is one country that I have lived in that I think that you feel welcome even in a strange land. As I speak to you now, I'm in Wa, in the Upper West. And I've been here for a couple of days, and I feel very welcome, even though, like in many parts of some other countries, you might move from one part of the country to another, and you feel that you don't belong. But I think what makes Ghana Ghana is the warmth of the nation. Everybody, we are more welcoming, and we accept others warmly. I think that is also the other side that makes us the bad side, which is also we are easy to accept people into our midst without actually looking past what the person is bringing. So I think, look, every good thing has a bad side to it. But I think if you ask me what makes me proud to be a Ghanaian, I would say the warmth of the people. I think that's what's the most important thing for me.
So if I asked you to celebrate one thing today, what would you celebrate in Ghana?
I don't, the freedom also is important. Me and you are able to sit on this, your channel, and be able to express our views without any fear of victimization. I think that's also a good thing. So I will celebrate that. I mean, I will celebrate the freedom of speech that we have, though some people take it too far. I think it's something that we should celebrate, because in the past, some people did not have the opportunity to say what they want to say and basically get away with it by saying what they want to say. Most people have died for less in this country. So today, I think we can celebrate the freedom of speech that we have.
Well, thank you, Kojo, for sharing your thoughts with us. Have you seen that latest report, though, by the United States on freedom of speech, on the freedom of the press, on the likes of Oliver Barker-Vormawor and his arrest and all of that? Have you seen those?
No, I've not seen those, but I don't think if those reports, I've not seen it and I don't know what's in it, but I don't think it's something that it's negative. I think it's all positive.
Let's get into the papers. The Ghanaian Times. I've just been reading about the EC's bid to conduct the Kumau by-election on May the 23rd. You remember Philip Baswa, unfortunately, meeting his maker. Then there is securing the $3 billion IMF support. President signs 3 tax bills to pave way for government to back 4 billion Ghana cedis in revenue annually. There are doubters who have said, you're just going to heap a burden on top of people, and you're not even going to be able to rake in the 4 billion, just as with the e-levy. And then there is this story about the police probing the burning to death of 3 suspected armed robbers at Asankragua. So they go to, and by the way, they are 24, 25, and 26, young men. They go to this place to attack a gold buying shop, kill someone there, and then they are found out and lynched. Now, it's alleged that these are the people. We don't know whether these were actually the perpetrators of the act. I've just been taking a look at those stories. And a scrap dealer who has been jailed 20 months for stealing laptops. Any comments on these stories we've looked at?
Yeah, I think I'll take a bite at the 4 billion a year tax that's been passed. I have always said that tax is really coming in to try and draw water from a rock. We are in a bad place as Ghanaians where we don't have much. And for government to now implement taxes to try and get more money from us, it's going to have the negative effect in building wealth in the nation. As it stands now, we really don't have liquidity in the economy. And what government should have rather do is basically find ways to basically give us more money to spend to boost up the economy again after the COVID and then the hardship that came after as a result of the international wars and stuff like that going on. Look, my position on why we don't need the taxes is very simple. I have said that most of the debt that we have today came as a result of us founding oil. Ghana is an oil-producing country, and I think at times people forget. The GMPC, that is supposed to be one of the richest corporations because we found oil, today is broke. We have abandoned the upstream and now signing bills for 4 billion. 4 billion Ghana cedis is about $400 million a year. Sorry, $400 million a year. You can get that in a month with just increasing your offshore production by 200,000 barrels a day, which is very simple. Okay, it's not that difficult that people think it is. We've sat down and basically ignore all the companies that have signed petroleum agreements with the country. We just had Akakpo just broke their POD, which is like 3 years overdue. There are companies sitting on blocks. There are litigation, ENI Springfield, which has been going on for almost 3 years. All these things has affected our oil production upstream. And we could have easily attained that 200,000 barrels a day. And today, we could be making $600 million a month. Okay, so you are trying to pass a bill.
Aren't you making this appear too simple? If it were that simple, do you think those at the helm of affairs wouldn't be doing it? What are the challenges? You've spoken about ACA or another entity sitting on an oil block for a while. It's not that simple, is it?
It is very simple. It is just simple as basically doing your work. It is very simple. Look, we sign laws in this country because we want to make things very simple. In the past, there was what you call the PNDC Law 84 and 83. We changed it and passed a new Petroleum Act, which made it very simpler for people to come in, negotiate blocks, and act. ACARE, the civil society, have said that ACARE is not a company that is worth their salt. We should have abrogated that ACARE block a long time ago. They tried to sell it to us. The civil society fought it back, and now, finally, they've brought their plan of development. Ben, it is simple. There is two litigation, ENI Springfield. It's been going on for 3 years.
Right.
It's very simple for the government to settle. All these things are being laid on the back burner. And we think the simpler way to go and collect 4 billion taxes a year from Ghanaians that don't have money, which one is more easier? Oil on the ground, go pump it up, make money, or go take money from Ghanaians that don't have the money.
Do we have the logistics? Do we have the logistics to do this, or to get the entity that has the logistics? And if we're going to do, use the second option or the latter option, are we going to reap the benefits? You know about our royalties system and how little the paltry sums we get.
It's not about royalties, it's about the lifting and the share of oil. I'm not even talking about royalties. If you're looking to get 600 billion a month, $600 million a month, it's not from royalties. It's about the share of oil. I'm talking about share of oil. Let me tell you the companies that have tried to work in Ghana in the last 6 years that we have asked, we've not allowed them to work in Ghana. Total have tried to work in Ghana. We've not allowed them to work in Ghana. ExxonMobil have tried to work in Ghana. We've not allowed them to work in Ghana. That's only a few of the major companies that are supposed to work in Ghana. ENI, like I said, is having litigation with Springfield. Okay. Now, these litigation can easily be settled by the president if he said the two parties in the room today. And the president has refused to settle that matter. Why, we don't know. And today, it is in court here and court there, and it's been going through the court for 3 years. Meanwhile, the president can settle this matter in 1 day.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Because from what I heard, he thinks that it's a corporate matter and the two companies should deal with it. But it's not a corporate matter. It is a national matter because as a result, we are not getting the development that we are supposed to get. Springfield could have developed their block. ENI could have developed their block. But because of the issue of one block basically going into another, they need to basically settle that matter, which is Excellency Honorable Amewu gave a letter to give a certain percentages. So it's now become a national matter. It's no longer a corporate matter because it's affecting us in our oil space. Most companies are looking at that case and looking, okay, let's stay back. We're not going to invest in Ghana. Let's see how that ENI Springfield thing pans out. And as a result, it's also affected another company called Vitol. Vitol and ENI has a second block.
Vitol has been in the news for different reasons. But I'd just like to find out about an aspect of what you're saying. I agree with you. If we can reap these benefits, I mean, why the heck are we even at the IMF's doorstep? I agree. But to be fair to the president, if he were to get involved in some of these matters, and if things went awry, askew, it would be the same people who would bash him likely for trying to influence the process if things went wrong. You know how it is. If you try touching some of these things, and if you don't touch them well, and some things go, and you know how sometimes it is laced with a whole lot of influence peddling and all of that. Don't you think, in this instance, it is only right on the back of, I mean, look, Mr. President's name has been mentioned in so many ignominious lights. Recently, that Al Jazeera report also has something in there. Of course, the lawyer counsel to the president has come to debunk that. But my point is, with all of these things happening, if I were the president, I would probably be very cautious, very careful going into such arrangements or trying to influence such arrangements.
Ben, so
is that not fair?
You've probably not read our Petroleum Act. Our Petroleum Act gives a lot of powers to the minister. The minister's powers is from the president of the state.
I don't dispute that. So why not let the minister do the work?
So let me land. As a nation, our assets, our resources is entrusted to the president by the people.
True.
He is a custodian of our assets.
True.
So what these people are fighting over are Ghanaian assets. It doesn't belong to them. We only gave it to them on concession. So we gave Springfield a field on concession. We gave ENI a field on concession. Okay? The custodian of those fields is Ghanaians entrusted to the president. If there's a dispute, the president, who's the custodian, can call the two parties together and settle that matter. They are going to the court of arbitration. Arbitration sits outside the country, okay? Now, even after arbitration, what tells you that the companies will do what they say they will do? Because arbitration is only enforced where? It's enforced in a country of competent jurisdiction. My point is that, look, to do unitization, there are two blocks that the government has given to two companies. The government said two companies should unitize. They are having challenges unitizing. The government, which is the president, should sit and say, look, I'm giving you guys these directives. It is my property. I gave it to you on concession. Do it this way, or I'll take the two of you out. It's as simple as that.
Why do you feel the sector minister, Dr. Matthew Poku Prempeh, has not waded into that? I mean, you could say that by extension, and what you've mentioned from the Constitution, which actually entrusts our resources in his care, the president. But he has put someone there to do the work. And in any case, you would expect that if the president wanted certain things to be done, he could simply direct the minister, do this, and it would be done. Why do you think that is not?
Well, there have been several meetings. Look, there were several meetings when Honorable Ambewu was at the ministry. There have been several meetings now that Napo is at the ministry. It's gotten to the point where it's above him because he's chaired most of these meetings and there's no results. So Napo has tried. But I'm saying that, look at what ENI is. ENI is a national oil company. Okay? Springfield is an indigenous Ghanaian company. So we Ghanaians want a Ghanaian to have his share. Okay, the Italians will want the Italians to have their share. So really and truly, it is at the national level because you are dealing with a national oil company. Right. There is nothing that tells me that if the president of Ghana and the president of ENI, okay, or the president of Italy wants to resolve this matter, we will not resolve this matter. But it's a matter of everybody think that, oh, it is not my matter, let's move it along. And for now, Ghanaians are saddled with 4 billion Ghana cedis a year taxes.
Even as we talk money, let me quickly do this and then we can go. The ECG has disconnected the TTU and two others over a 3.3 million Ghana cedi debt. That's one angle. But there are two little bits I want you to look at, especially as we're talking money. Our currency exchange, the prices keep fluctuating. I remember last year, I think if you recall, I shared with you the story of a friend of mine who was taking a program from the London Dental Institute. She was paying £750 a month. And at a point, 750 pounds moved from about 6,000 something to about 14,000 Ghana cedis. She just, completed that in March. But the currency exchange, a lot of people who go there, who do a lot of buying and selling, it keeps fluctuating and it's problematic. And then I look at fuel prices. They were going down a bit and I was happy. The last time I bought fuel, it was 12 cedis, 90 something or so. It's shot up by a little bit to 13 cedis plus. I don't know whether diesel has fallen. I think it may have. How can we get more stability there? Just quick thoughts before we move to the next paper.
I keep telling people that our currency is a matter of demand and supply. It's quite its days. We've had, in the last couple of weeks, actually, we've had a bit of stability in our currency. As a result of that, the international prices of crude oil was also coming down, so petroleum prices were declining. A lot of people were saying that it's because of gold for oil that the prices were coming down. And we in the civil society space have said repeatedly that it was not because of gold for oil that prices were coming down. It was because of the stabilization of the city and stabilization of decline in the international oil market. Today, the price have gone up, but it's gone up marginally. It's not that much. Like you rightfully said, some went up, some came down. The fluctuation in your currency is just a demand and supply problem. It's not really something that we should worry about.
You say we shouldn't worry about it, but it's impacting business. It's impacting so many different aspects of our economy. So how can we not worry about it?
Well, in terms of look, marketers and traders always use what we call the forward sale. And I think in the last 3 months, there's been a bit of stability to be able to determine what your forward sale is. It's only when it's rampant going forward quickly that you cannot determine what the forward sale is. But now, in the last BOG auction to the BDCs, the forward sale was 11.45. So in a way, anybody doing transactions in the country will know that in the next 3 months, we are looking to hover around 11.45 to 12 cities. So that guides everybody who is doing a transaction to use the spot buy, which is what you see the daily basis, is not what the businesses use. What they use is a 3 months forward sale, which today is pegged around 11.45 to 12 cities to the dollar. So it seems to be a bit stable for now.
Let's look at a few stories from the Daily Guide newspaper. EC hosts Kumo by-election, we've already looked at that. Candidates to pay 10,000 Ghana cedis. Latvia Foreign Minister calls on Akufo-Addo. I returned to Ghana for my husband, Aisha Huang, the famous Aisha Huang, or should I say infamous Aisha Huang, says so. IMF boss lobbies for Ghana. And check out this one. It's a story I'm going to do. Kenyan nabbed for smuggling 11.04 kilograms of cocaine. The suspect, Njeri Mary, pictured there. And the Narcotics Control Commission has arrested a Kenyan national at the Kotoka International Airport for smuggling 11.04 kilograms of cocaine worth $309,120. Now, the suspect, Njeri Mary, 35, was apprehended by NACOC officials during routine checks at the arrival hall after disembarking from a South African Airways flight from Nairobi to Accra via Johannesburg on Saturday, April 15, 2023. Now, Acting Director, Public Affairs Francis Poku in a statement said a search of her luggage revealed packages of Cremora that contained the concealed drugs. Preliminary questioning revealed that she had confirmed possession of the consignment in her luggage, and she was later arrested for further investigation. I mean, when you look at videos of it, she's cold as ice, cool, calm, collected. It was almost like some sort of movie. I hope, though, that with the cocaine that has been seized, the contraband will be dealt with according to the law. We know of things that have happened before in this country. But that's the first issue I'd like you to look at. But let me just rope in these matters so we can wrap the conversation, Kojo. The Finder, IGP unveils 2 major election security interventions. Chieftaincy Minister Poku chiefs explore avenues for lasting peace. And Ghana Armed Forces seizes over 20,000 pieces of illegal explosives in Takwa. This is a story we did yesterday. I just want to look at the one on page 9, and then I'll give you the opportunity to come in. So the Ghana Police Service has established an election security secretariat to work with all political parties and other stakeholders to enhance the management of security for all elections in the country. This is a complete departure from the old order where an election security task force was put together just a month before the general elections. Since its creation over a year ago, the Police Election Security Secretariat has worked with the various political parties in their respective internal political parties, in their respective internal elections, from the polling station through the constituency to the national executive elections. Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufu-Dampare, disclosed this during a meeting with the MPP and the NDC over recent happenings on the political front. And then there's that Chieftaincy Minister Poku chiefs explore avenues for lasting peace. Any quick reactions to these stories?
Yes, the one on the Kenyan coming in with the 11.04 kilos of cocaine. Yes. Look, for me, I would have thought if they want to conduct a good, intelligent work, they should have just let him pass.
Let her pass.
Let her pass, because that's what they do in the UK.
Then UK, go to the source, right?
When they realize that you are coming in with such an amount, and they would pretend they've not seen it, let you pass, but tell you. And then monitor you along the line and arrest the value chain. Because now you've arrested her, you don't...
Right.
Because it's not something that's new. Remember, we've used to have a very rampant drug situation in this country. And for some reason, it's not gone away, but it's gone underground. Okay? It's still ongoing.
In as much as I agree with you wholly, that is what you would see sometimes in CSI and all of that. But you see, in our system, you could even tail this person and you could lose the person at a point. I mean, just hold for me. Our system is that porous. We don't have all of these CCTV outfits and all of that. They could attempt that and lose the person altogether.
No, you're not going to lose the person. The people you are asking to go tell her will go connive with her and collect their share of the money. That's what's going to happen. It's not they lose her. How do you lose somebody in Ghana? You can easily see who's
what you're saying could happen, but you could also lose her, and then you know what they say: a bird in hand is worth two in the bush.
Bear in mind, at the airport, she's going to be arrived. She's going to be welcomed by somebody. Somebody's going to come and receive her, right? She's going to go to the cup.
I don't know about that in this instance because it doesn't even appear there's anyone else mentioned who was complicit.
Well, that's the point, because she was arrested at the arrival hall. My point is, if they are serious, because there's no way she's going to tell you, maybe they can do their investigation to find the other culprits in the country. But for me, what I thought should have happened was let her go, tail her, and arrest the value chain. Because that is the important. There are people, and this is not a one-off. You find out that these people have been, and even on that flight, she was the one that was arrested. I can tell you there were probably 3 or 4 people that went through.
Okay, that's an interesting assertion. Right.
No, mostly none of them always travel by themselves. There's always 3 or 4 people that travel with them, and when one is arrested, the rest will go through. And these are things that we have seen in the past. So what I'm saying is that what they should have done, but it's good they've arrested her, but the other way I thought they should have done, let her go through and just basically stake out and arrest the value chain. Well, but then let's go on to the issue of the EC Kumawu thing. Have we dealt with that?
We had already dealt with that earlier, but if you want to do it briefly, some 15 seconds.
There's an issue on that one. There's an issue on that one where it comes up to say that there is somebody that is not eligible because of dual citizenship or something like that. So I think there were 8 people that were vetted, and 2 people have not been able to go through because I think that one is still pending. And then we've seen the marvelous job that my brother Dubik is doing at ECG by disconnecting everybody that is owing them, which is a good thing. And then I think for once, we've seen an ECG MD who is prepared to basically go to the front line and collect what is due ECG.
Interesting stuff, Kojo. We're grateful that you took the time to join us. The final story, Economy Times, job availability declined by 7.9% from January to February 2023. Kojo Poku, we're grateful that you've taken the time to join us this morning.
My only question to that story is that how did they calculate that decline in jobs? That's my only question. How did they measure that?
I wish I could give you details of the story, but our time is up. So maybe we'll have to have this conversation off air. But Kojo Poku, we're grateful. Were you saying something, Kojo?
No, I said I'm grateful too. When I come back from the Upper East, I'll come and say hi to you.
Thank you so much. Bring me something from the Upper East. I nearly said something. I nearly said something specific, but I'll not say it. I'll not be tempted. I'll reach out to you after we're done. Kojo Poku is an energy analyst. He joined us for the conversation. I did ask some of you to send your thoughts about Ghana, how you feel. Isa Asimeu says, I'm hopeless. I feel disappointed by the leaders of this country. Joel Sebiam says, my family and culture make me proud as a Ghanaian. I'm a Mampusi and I love my culture and my family, and I'm proud I am Ghanaian. Do we have any others coming through? What is Nana Kwame saying? I am proud to be Ghanaian because of our hospitality, our rich culture, and the love we exhibit towards one another. All right, so those are a few quick comments. I requested them. I had to read them. Before we wrap, Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic helping us to bring you this segment. They're offering free prostate screening if you're a man and free female fertility screening if you're a woman. Where can you locate them? Here in Accra, Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronumabwe here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade Anaji Estate, Tema Community 22. Techiman Hanswa and Esiama Enzema. Their call lines are 0244 867 068. You could also reach out to them on 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. As we go into sports, I cannot but say a word of prayer for the Gunners, fans of Arsenal Football Club. You can only feel the sort of pressure, anxiety on them right now. Sports is up next.